Okay. So again, welcome everyone to the October 22nd, 2024 meeting of the Design Review Board. This is a web-based call, so we are operating under the following procedures. This session is being audio and video recorded. We will not use the chat feature in this meeting. And to ensure good sound quality, the default rule for this meeting is that everyone will remain on mute. Commissioners and staff will generally remain on mute except when speaking or voting. This meeting is open to the public, but is not a public hearing. Therefore, no members of the public may speak unless specifically invited to do so. If a member of the public creates an audio or video disruption, they may be manually ejected from the meeting upon recommendation of the staff or the chair. We appreciate your attendance at this meeting. Should you have any questions about this process, you may call our staff at 860-444-5813 after the meeting has ended. And with that, I turn this meeting over to the chair.
Good afternoon. All right. Call the meeting to order. Appointment of alternates. Mike in for Ed today. I believe Mike's an alternate.
Yeah.
Okay, so he would be in for Ed.
For Ed, I agree. Yes.
Yep. Very good. Item number 2, plan reviews. Let's see. PL 24-14, request of 1721 LLC applicant and owner for a site plan approval for a 24-unit multifamily community for property located at 430 Mohegan Avenue Parkway and 23B Old Norwich Road, R20 zone, in accordance with CGS 8-30G and as shown on plans entitled Roberts Village Drive, CGS 8-30G Affordable Housing Site Plan Developments for Conservation Commission Review, revised 8/28/2024. And with that, I will turn it over to Attorney Sweeney.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Good evening. For the record, my name is Bill Sweeney. I'm a land use attorney and a partner at the law firm of Tobin Carberry over in London, Connecticut. And as always, I appreciate the opportunity to appear before you this evening. I represent 1721 LLC, which is a local real estate development company with an office in Waterford, Connecticut. I'm here before you tonight because later on this evening, we are appearing before the Planning and Zoning Commission with an application for an affordable housing project. And that project consists of 24 units of new residential development, a mix of single family and duplex residential units to be constructed between Old Norwich Road and Mohegan Avenue Parkway, which is Route 32, in the Quaker Hill section of town. This application is different than a lot of the applications that come before the Planning and Zoning Commission and come before this Design Review Board in that it's submitted under Section 8-30G of the General Statutes, which is Connecticut's Affordable Housing Appeals Act. And that's important because tonight, when we go before the Planning and Zoning Commission, the review of our application is not subject to the zoning regulations of the town of Waterford, but rather are subject to specific provisions of the State Affordable Housing Appeals Act. And that really narrows the scope of review for the commission. And it has an effect on you as well, which I'll discuss in a second. Joining me tonight, I've got Joe Wren, who is the principal with Joe Wren, who's a project engineer with Indigo Land Design, and I believe Dan Del Grosso is also on the line, and he's with 1721. I'm going to try to give you a brief presentation of the project tonight, and then Mr. Wren will also provide some additional details on landscaping and some of the amenities and common areas on the project. But as I said before, this is going to be a little bit different than a typical site plan or special permit application. Connecticut's Affordable Housing Appeals Act effectively allows for the preemption of local zoning. And while we're still required to go through the local zoning process, the Planning and Zoning Commission can only deny us on very narrow and limited grounds. And specifically as it applies, indirectly to you, our application does not comply with the zoning regulations of the town. And that's okay. That's permissible under 830G. And likewise, the criteria that are typically used by the commission, looking at things like architecture or landscaping, cannot be taken into consideration. We're here tonight because you have a defined design review process, and we certainly want to be courteous to you, and we want your input and suggestions just like any other project. But I share that with you because later on tonight, the Planning and Zoning Commission really has no say in the landscaping or the architecture of the project. They can only look at the project as it regards to health and public safety issues. And so it's a very different standard than we typically have. Joe, if you could put up the site plan, if we could allow Joe to share the screen and just so I could talk through the site plan with everybody.
Okay, Joe.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Good evening, everyone. Joe Wren, professional engineer of Indigo over in Old Saybrook. Bill asked me to share the plans here. Bill, I'm not sure which sheet you want to start with, but this.
Yeah, this is fine. I'll start, and I can basically, particularly for our discussion tonight, I think this plan is more than sufficient, but we can actually jump up to some additional plans later on, Joe, if necessary. But the colored area before you tonight is the main component of the project. This is the proposed affordable housing development. We're calling this Roberts Village, and that's because it's situated on approximately 5.71 acres of vacant land, which is located in an R20 district at the ends of Roberts Court, which is at the top of the screen. Roberts Court is a dead-end cul-de-sac off of Senco Drive, which runs between Old Norwich Road and Route 32. The surrounding neighborhood, we have the Arboretum property to the south, and the neighborhood to the north of the project site along Senco Drive and Roberts Court is predominantly 1- and 2-story post-World War II single-family homes. They're all on very small, sort of substandard, undersized lots. Rather than the large sort of monolithic apartment buildings that so many people, I think, have come to associate with affordable housing, and quite frankly, which we could have proposed as part of this project, our proposal tonight is for our affordable housing development is actually to try to replicate the nature and the scale and the scope of the surrounding neighborhood by providing 24 units of detached single family and duplex dwellings that look like the surrounding neighborhood. The proposed dwellings will be of only 1 to 2 stories in height. They range in size from approximately 1,200 square feet to 2,160 square feet, and each has from 3 to 4 bedrooms, depending on the unit design. And we'll share a couple renderings of that unit design with you in a moment. But you can see the idea is not to have every building look exactly like the one next door, but to have a mix of buildings and a mix of different designs within the project. So you really try to get a traditional neighborhood feel. As I said before, while the proposed density of our affordable housing project is greater than what's normally allowed in the underlying R20 district that sits on this property today, what's really interesting is it's not significantly different from the neighborhood to the north of this site, where you have a lot of very modest homes on very small lots, well below the R20 minimum lot size standard. As you're going to see when we show you the materials and the design of the units are very simple. They're very sort of classic New England look, some of them. And we think they're going to be very consistent with existing neighborhood residential buildings. The primary access point for the project is off the end of Roberts Court, and then it will access to the site will be through a looped driveway, which will be private to serve the entire development. There are no existing sidewalks on Roberts Court or on Mohegan Avenue Parkway. So we do, on the left hand of the side of the drawing, we do have a pedestrian connection out through 23B Old Norwich Road. So to get to the sidewalks that were installed a few years ago out on that roadway. The project is served by public water and sanitary sewer, so there's no concern with well or septic systems. And the 8 affordable units, which are going to be part of the project, will be deed restricted, and they encompass the duplex units on the site. So, Joe, if you could just point those units out, there's 8 of them. They're sort of spread sort of throughout the site, but those are going to be the affordable units that are being proposed in the duplex style. The other units, the remaining units will be market rate units. They will not have any income restrictions on them. We've designed this project so that all of these units can be independently sold, but our intent is to hold title to the affordable units, rent them for the foreseeable future, while the other 16 market rate units will be offered for sale upon completion of construction. The entire project, both the market rate homes and the affordable homes, are going to be organized as a common interest community, similar to many of the other residential communities here in Connecticut. Many condominium complexes are organized as common interest communities. And this is good because the organizational setup makes sure that the private road, the common areas, the amenities, the landscaping, all are going to be professionally maintained by a third-party management company hired and directed by the future association of unit owners. At this time, I would like to just throw up some of the designs that we're looking at for the site. Joe, I don't know if you can switch to that.
Yep. Pull that up quickly. All right, you should be able to see that now.
So this is one of the 4 styles that we're proposing. We call this the Flacco style. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-story unit design. This is sort of a sample color rendering. We also included some floor plans in our submission as well for the Flacco as well, just to show the proposed layout. It's a modest, small home. To really target a missing supply that we have in this general area. There are not a lot, I think we all know that there's a significant housing demand right now in the area, and we think this will be competitively priced and it'll be something that'll be positive in the marketplace. We go to the next design, more information, just another version of the Flacco. And then we have the Craftsman style. What's nice about the Craftsman, it might be my favorite, the Craftsman is a single floor or single level, 1-floor living proposal. It's the smallest of our units. It's just around 1,200 square feet in the base model. We think that this will be really attractive, particularly to seniors who will be looking for more affordable living accommodations. Again, we're looking for sort of classic looks. We're showing just for all of our materials, our vinyl siding, vinyl windows. That's the look that we're trying to seek. Very traditional. We are going to be using color palettes. We're showing sort of very neutral whites, yellows. We expect to maybe do some light grays, but nothing that would look out of place in a New England community. If you go down some further, Joe, we've got some more elevations of that, and here we have a floor plan of the Craftsman. And again, modest living, at affordable prices, which is what we're trying to accomplish with this project. And again, this is a 3-bedroom design. We go on to the next design. This we call the Garrison. This is, I don't know if we can flip that. Unfortunately, we don't have a color version of this because this was something that came out of a different designer. Very simple. This is our 4-bedroom design. It's 2 stories. We're using double hung windows with shutters. Very simple. Again, we think it's going to be our larger building that we have offered, but we think there'll be some demand for it, and we've got a few of these on the site as well. If we keep going, I think we have a floor plan as well for this building. And you show that We've got the garage and utility room. We've got, living space in the lower floor. If we go to the next slide, you can see all 4 bedrooms are upstairs in this, including with one with a walk-in closet. I think it's a very nice home. And again, I think there'll be some interest in this one as well. And then if we go to our final design, we call this is our duplex design that we call the Elkin. The Elkin is, you can see the 2 doors, again, very traditional design, double hung windows, shutters. We've got a little porch, portico type structure on the front, vinyl siding, asphalt shingles, vinyl windows. But these will be the affordable units. There's going to be a total of 4 buildings like this, a total of 8 units of the 24 will be affordable. And then we just have some floor plans as well, just showing the layout of these. And these are 3 bedroom. Each of the duplex units has 3 bedrooms as well. And again, just some basic, the sizes, the baths, the number of bedrooms. We have gas or electric heat. We haven't completely figured that out. And then again, vinyl siding. And again, the affordable units are designed to really blend into the neighborhood. We're not trying to create some type of drastic difference between them. But it's the idea of these projects, when we have what we call mixed income projects, is you really create a true neighborhood type feel where people don't realize that they're living next to an affordable unit, which is so different than how we did it 50 years ago, where we would build like a single tower of affordable units, and everybody who lived there knew they had an affordable unit. The modern way of doing it is sort of mixing that into a traditional market rate neighborhood. It's a better way to absorb the units. We think it'll be more consistent with the surrounding neighborhood as well. Joe, did you want to take a little bit and just talk about landscaping? I know you have a plan, and just talk very briefly about what we're providing for landscaping.
Sure. Going back to this colored plan, it's probably our best rendering that shows all the green spaces. The darker green areas are currently wooded, that would be left wooded. The remainder of the site, there is some slope here that needs grading. To get the grading, the houses, the roadway, the utilities in, the majority of the site would be cleared, and hence the light green spaces. Those are areas to be cleared, but then of course revegetated with probably some meadow areas and then some lawn areas around the units. Around the edges, we've included, I think the number is 37 Techni arborvitae that the deer do not like. Those are recommended by the town planner. And then we also have some trees. So these dark green symbols are trees. I believe there are 9 trees. And then there are several shrubs intermixed in there too, just to bring back some of the vegetation to the area. The blue spaces here are stormwater management basins. There is a very small pocket of wetlands down in here. This project already went through the wetlands process. Maureen has reviewed it and approved everything, and the Wetlands Commission also approved the project. The basins will be planted, side slopes will be grass, the bottoms will be planted with appropriate vegetation. We have a whole list to treat the nutrients in the stormwater runoff and to improve or enhance the water quality as it proceeds through the basin 1 and on into basin 2, and then around overland flow back through the wooded area back into the wetland.
So I think that's sort of our initial presentation to you tonight. We're happy to try to answer any questions you have. It's always, I've done a handful of these 830G projects over the years, and it's always uncomfortable and awkward for me when you have towns that have design review boards, because later tonight I'm going to be telling the Planning and Zoning Commission, this is my architecture, this is my landscaping, pay no attention to it because the state law says you can't. But I've always had such a good relationship with this commission, and Mark asked us if we wouldn't mind coming in to just share with you our plans, regardless of what the legal standard is, and just to give you an idea of what we're proposing. And certainly, I would leave you with this is there, you know, a lot of times people think of 830G processes as sort of adversarial, and we haven't done that. This is what is so-called a friendly 830G. The reason we're proposing this is to gain flexibility in the zoning regulations. And so we've tried to work really closely with Mark and with John Mullen and, you know, trying to give the town something that's a nice product, that's something positive, but also doesn't go so far as to undermine the affordability component of the project. And so there's a tension between those two things, but we really do believe this is a friendly application. And, you know, if there are suggestions or thoughts that you may want to add or have us consider, while it probably can't be conditioned to approval, we would certainly be open to listening and considering anything that could make the project better without sacrificing its affordability. So with that, I yield back to the chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. All right. Comments from board members. Joy?
Joy, you're on mute. There you go.
One consideration I just had was in the landscaping, whether inkberry could be used instead of boxwood, which I think is more native and might be easier to maintain long term.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, we'd be
and
happy to work with you on that, something like that, sure.
And then just a question is, how will the signage be reflected that this is now a drive off of Roberts Court or something? That was just a curiosity more than anything.
Joe, can you answer that?
I can try to, yes, on the site plan, to get to the right one, we do show a sign at the end of the cul-de-sac.
Oh, okay, right.
Sort of right here on one of the plans.
Okay, I didn't catch it.
We have some more detail. It is here, we have a sign, like a stone wall type sign that says Roberts Village Drive, plaque at the entrance.
Okay,
Just for
Great.
identification.
Mike? Anything?
You're on mute as well, Mike.
Yeah.
New to Zoom, sorry.
Okay.
No, but you said that the first units were gonna be rentals, the first units built?
No, not necessarily. So what we have something called an affordability plan that governs the entire project. It's a requirement of that state statute. So what I said is that we'll be building the affordable units, which are the duplex units, in concert with the quote unquote market rate units, which are the non-duplex units. And we'll be doing that proportionally as we go through the site. The fundamental difference is it is our intent, while we've set this up so that every unit could be sold, we intend to hold title to the duplex units and rent them, and then sell the non-affordable units. And the reason for that, you know, if you're curious, is simply an issue of economics. As you know, interest rates have creeped up over the last several years to sort of levels we haven't seen in a long time. And the formulas for the sale price and the rental price of affordable units are governed by state law. And interest rates affect the sale price of affordable units, but they don't affect the rental rate of affordable units. And so, in all intensive purposes, right now in the state of Connecticut, it's literally, it's impossible to build affordable housing and sell it and even get close to breaking even. You can break even by renting it. And so that's what our intent is. If the market shifts and interest rates continue to go down, we may be able to sell some of these duplex units as well in the future. But we've set it up in the common interest community to allow for that. But we expect that we'll be holding those units and renting them at least initially, as long as interest rates stay about where they are today.
And Bill, they have to remain affordable whether they're rental or for sale for 40 years, right, minimum?
Correct. So there'll be a deed restriction on this entire property that labels those 8 units as affordable. And whether they're rented or whether they're sold, the rent or sale price of the unit will be controlled by state statute.
Sure.
Most importantly, and I put this out too, is for every unit of affordable housing that's built in the town of Waterford, Waterford gets that much closer to meeting its quote unquote state obligation for affordable housing. The reason we can file an 830G application is because right now Waterford doesn't meet that requirement. But at such time that when 10% of your housing is deemed affordable, then you don't have to entertain 830G applications. Everybody has to follow the zoning regulations from that point on.
Good, thank you, Bill. Anything else, Mike?
Nope. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. All right, yeah, thank you for the presentation, Bill. I think it's it's a very good use of a piece of property. You know, really packing a lot of a lot of residents into, you know, a reasonable sized piece of property rather than, you know, spreading it out all over the place. My one comment would be, of the 4 designs, 2, the Flacco and the Craftsman are fine. You know, they're wonderful. The duplexes, you know, are duplexes, a little less interesting, but the larger Garrison, if there's anything that could be done to add a little more detail there, they really seem to stick out in their blandness. Yeah, coming up, you're almost there on the drawing.
Right
Yeah,
there.
that. Yeah, the devoid of trim, eave overhang. Yeah, they really, and that they are a third of the building, a third of the units, and about 40% of the buildings in the project. I think your project would definitely benefit from a little more attention to detail on this particular design.
As a personal comment, I don't disagree with anything you said. And I will encourage my client to take a second look. And I think particularly just the entranceway could use some additional attention at minimum. But I there's nothing I can say contrary to what you said.
Appreciate that. Bob, did you have a comment?
No, I just, the Garrison, I'm not, a bit that, second story overhang. It just seems like, oh, those were subdivision houses from, I don't know, 50 years ago. They seem kind of, I don't know, they just don't make it. Whereas the other designs are, they're pretty spiffy.
Yeah, yeah, there's a marked contrast between that one and the other 3. That's our only comment, and you know, as you said, you can take it or leave it.
Yeah, just an opinion, that's all.
Certainly appreciate it, and we take it coming from a good place, so appreciate it.
All right, we appreciate the time. So, we really don't have any recommendations or,
Okay.
you know, so do we need to take a vote? Or
Yes. Yeah.
We still need to vote.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, still need to vote without, you know, any conditions or recommendations.
Right, okay. So, is there a motion to approve the request of 1721 LLC?
I will, make the motion to approve.
Okay, this motion, is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let's go out.
All right.
Thank you so much for your time this evening. and
Approved.
Very good.
Look forward to seeing you again real soon.
Okay,
Very
thank you.
good.
We'll see you, Bill. See you later.
Thank you.
Okay, next order of business is the approval of minutes, the September 10th meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look them over?
Yep.
All right. Is there a motion to accept the minutes of the September 10th meeting?
So moved.
Thank you, Bob. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, thank you, Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, and last but not least, is there a motion to adjourn?
So made.
Thank you, Joy. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mike. All in favor of adjournment?
Yes.
Aye. Excellent.
Very good.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, thank you.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.